Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I know it's been a while and I haven't been so consistent with this channel. And since last week, I sat down and I was thinking how I wanted to go through this new back to school, back to work season as we're still early September. Then I was thinking, okay, there are 4 months left for 2025. And one of the goals that I was trying to work on was to be more consistent on my YouTube channel. As you could see, I haven't been consistent at all. I think the last video was posted last year, so more than 8 months. It's crazy. So I sat down and I went through like a few steps that sort of like gave me more clarity and more focus on what I need to be doing over the next 4 months before the end of the year. So what is good about the back to school, back to work season is that it's kind of like we get a second chance. We set our goals at the beginning of the year, and then there's summer that comes. It's like a nice break, and then September is there, and we remind ourselves of like, oh my God, I haven't done anything on this particular area of my life. And maybe this is an opportunity to catch up on that and reprioritize, which brings me to really like the first step that I took last week when I was like thinking how I wanted to go through this next 4 months is to really set priorities. And by setting priorities, it's like going back to your goals list and compare and see what you're spending most of your time on versus what your real goals are. So say for example, you wanted to build a business, but you're spending most of your time doing something else. Then obviously there is a drift there. There's something that's not enabling you to reach that goal. And it's also a moment where you need to be kind of like clear with yourself and really honest with yourself. Is this really your goal or not? Or is it like a goal that you borrowed from someone else? I like to go to coffee shops to do these kind of exercises, but feel free to do it anywhere. But I think you don't need any distractions because you need to be like doing it and then listening to that inner voice of yours. So yeah, the first step is to really set your priorities. What are your priority goals? What is it that you want to achieve? I know maybe you haven't achieved the beach body, but summer is over, but is it still on your list? Is it a priority? You want to start a business? Have you worked on that as well? You want to change jobs, you want to have a family, you want to just be spiritually fulfilled. Where are you? Check in with yourself, see what are your priorities. From your experience, I know that we shouldn't be setting so many priorities because we get overwhelmed and it's not really effective. It's actually very counter-effective. So you need to probably keep it to like three priorities and maybe 5 at most. So what are your priorities for the coming month and the last quarter of the year? So set maximum 5 priorities, sit down, really check each one of the activities that you do, be honest with yourself, and see whether you actually need to pursue what you've started or even to pursue whatever you set yourself as a goal. So once you know what your priorities are, and by the way, I myself, when I did this exercise, I had to let go of a few things that I was doing, which were good, but they're not helping me achieve my ultimate goals. So yeah, so that was like a nice thing to keep doing. It felt comfortable, but then I made a decision last week to let them go, just because yeah, I just can't do so many things at the same time. At some point we have to prioritize on what we want to achieve. So when you get that list of priorities, Then you start planning. You create a plan. You sit down with your calendar. I personally use Google Calendar, and I also have like a paper calendar where I like to jot down notes. You do whatever works for you. I like to create a plan and then schedule really time for each of the priorities that I have. Say for example, you want to make sure that you're very fit, and then you need to work out. Then how many times are you going to work out a week? You need to schedule it. You can't just go with the flow, because one day it's going to be raining really hard and you're not going to be doing your workouts, and the other day you're going to be staying up late for work and you're going to miss your workouts again. However, when it's you have allocated time, then you're most likely to respect those slots. So make sure to enter each of the tasks, each of the goals, each of the priorities within your plan. It could be like, I want to read more books. Okay, but how many more books? Maybe I want to read a book every 2 weeks. Then schedule that time in your plan. Make sure that like every day you're reading 20 minutes. Then what's the best time to be reading? Maybe in the morning before you start your day, or maybe in the evening just before going to bed. So whatever works for you, or maybe during lunchtime, I don't know, but just make sure to find a slot that suits you. The third one is, like I told you, I set priorities for myself, then I put everything into my schedule. I try not to overwhelm myself with too many things, because I know now that I'm not super effective when I have like a zillion things to do. I'd rather just keep it to 3 things a day, schedule my task into my calendar, and then make sure I have a gap in between meetings and in between calls. Because like one of the things that I do a lot these days is video calling. And I find that video calling is something that really drains a lot of my energy. It's exactly like teaching. I remember when I was teaching at uni, I would be really knackered at the end of the day. So it takes a lot of energy. That's why I try to avoid like phone calling. Yeah, just make it to the minimum. That's me. So make sure you're not bombarding yourself with activities, with the task, and leave some time for creativity or just to chill, because that time is also very productive for your brain. You need chill time, you need fun time. So make sure you're not like putting like a back-to-back meeting or back-to-back tasks. So once you do the plan, I'm going back to the third point, I realized, okay, I've done this step before. I've already created a plan in the past, like particularly I'm using the YouTube channel. But the problem was, and this is point number 3, is a lack of discipline. So I'm going to turn it into an actionable plan, which is be disciplined. I need to be disciplined to be posting regularly on my YouTube channel and be connecting with you guys. So this is key. Like the goal of being present on social media or on YouTube is just a goal. Okay, I make it a priority. It's nice. I put it on my schedule. It's even better. But how many times I have seen that I was not really respecting this schedule. Like I would be like, okay, well, YouTube channel, it's okay, I'm not gonna but this is again just an example. You can be using this for anything within your interest. So in my case, it was the YouTube channel. So here I definitely need more discipline, and this is the point, this is the advice, this is the tip that I would share with you guys, is you can't achieve your goals if you're not disciplined. So make sure you're going by the rules. You know that, okay, you have your priorities, you have a plan, but you cannot reach your goals if you're not disciplined. Here in Paris, there were the Olympic Games. I've watched a few of them. I also went to a game, and then I was like, okay, well, these guys, they trained so hard for like, I don't know how many years to participate in competition for a few minutes sometimes, sometimes they're like so short competitions. But without the discipline, they would have never been there. They would have never participated. They would have never attempted to win. They just wouldn't have lived that experience. I'm not even talking about the end result, but just to be there, to participate, is just a result of hard work and discipline. Which brings me to the next and final point, is to have fun. It's important to enjoy the process of what you're doing. I know it cannot always be fun. It cannot always be, hey. However, if you're finding difficulties, that's an interesting problem. Like, how can you work around them? How can you overcome them? The problem is when you are disciplined, but you're not finding any joy and you're actually suffering. It's like not finding difficulty, but really being in this mode of like, I'm suffering. This is not bringing me any joy. This is bringing me a lot of stress. This is very unhealthy for me. So if that's the case, then obviously you need to redefine your priorities. But here the idea is to always pursue things that bring you the most joy, the most fun, and that you're really curious about. You know how I'm passionate about living life with passion. This is the idea. Do things with passion. One of my goals, my priorities this quarter in September, is to bake more, and particularly for my kiddos. So like, okay, every Wednesday I'm gonna make them a homemade cake. So yeah, I did that yesterday. So that's cool. But I know I'm not like a superstar of baking. I will need to learn. I will need to make sure that I do my grocery shopping prior to Wednesday to have all the ingredients. Sometimes I used to make it like really, really rapidly, but now I understand that I really need to enjoy the process so the result is better. Have you ever noticed that? Like, the more you give love to a task, the better the results is. So this is the idea. You need to love what you're doing. You need to find joy. You need to enjoy the process of like working on achieving your goal. So it's not always about the end result. It's the process, the journey that counts as well. So to recap, set your priorities, plan them into your daily and weekly schedule. Get disciplined, super important. I think like this is clearly the key one. And then finally, have fun, enjoy the process, enjoy whatever you're doing. And this is what's gonna make the difference between people who are doing things like a robot and people who are enjoying what they're doing because they're putting some love into it. So I'm gonna try myself to really stick to these, and I really wanted to share them with you so that we can be on the same wavelength. So you now know my goal for September and the next quarter. I also have other priorities. I will tell you about them in the next videos. In the meantime, let me know what your priorities are for September and in the next quarter in the comments down below. And I'm so happy to be doing this. Actually, I'm just in my kitchen. I was like, I'm not gonna pull out my camera, my mic. I'm just filming with my camera, my phone camera. Let me know what you think. I think there isn't enough lighting, but who cares? I just wanted to get the message out. Let me know what you think of this video and let's stay in touch. Take care. Bye.